All right, old school Texas Tech. We're back for our new for this season. We're doing our weekly Big 12 predictions. This is our second round of weekly Big 12 predictions. I don't mean to brag or anything, but I do have a one game advantage, which feels very good right now. Of course, that could go away pretty quickly, but I am 16-0 with my predictions as I called the UNLV upset of Houston. Jordan is 15-1. He picked. Correct me if I'm wrong. You picked Houston to beat UNLV. Correct?
You are correct. I'm
All
giving you a pat
right.
on the back right now.
Yeah, I think if we weren't on YouTube, there would be a different hand signal involved. But all right. So we've got everybody's playing. Nobody's got a bye this week. I don't. Yeah, nobody's got a bye this week. We have our first game tomorrow night. I'm gonna let you go first, Jordan. Maybe you're gonna probably lap me, but I'm gonna enjoy being ahead for 1 week at least. All right. So BYU goes to Dallas. I believe this is on campus at SMU
Oh,
tomorrow
no,
night.
that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm gonna say that I think SMU wins that one.
Okay. Then we go to our Saturday games. We've got the early kick games first. There are three of them. Kansas State. This is interesting. They go to New Orleans to play at Tulane. I have two uncles who went to Tulane and at least one cousin who went to Tulane. But what do you think will happen in what they call the Big Easy, right? Big Easy.
Yeah. I think Kansas State's gonna win. Tulane's coach left. In fact, he went to Houston, I think, didn't he?
He did. He did. He might
So
regret that.
he's gone. That quarterback that they had, I'm drawing a blank on his name, is gone. And Kansas State will exert their will, I think. So
Kansas State's a good football
I
team.
think Kansas State will win that one.
Okay. This is an interesting one, and some of the preseason predictions surprised me a little bit on this game. But we've got another early kick, 11 a.m. Central, just like the other game. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati.
Oh, nice. That's an interesting one. I'm gonna go with I think Cincinnati struggled with Towson or Townsend, whoever that was. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh in that one.
Okay, I'm definitely rooting for Cincinnati. I'd love to see the Big 12 team get the win, but
Same here. Same
yeah.
here.
All right. Then we've got the last of this is an interesting one too. The last of the 11 a.m. kicks. We've got Arkansas at Oklahoma State in
That is an
Stillwater.
interesting. I saw that one. I do. Okay, so I know they played Arkansas Little Rock, which is not exactly, you know, they're not exactly a stellar talent, but they said that Arkansas scored a touchdown on every single possession. That's
Yeah, they have
impressive.
Bobby Petrino back as
And
offensive
Bobby
coordinator.
Petrino, when he's not riding with his mistress on a motorcycle, he's a really good coach. He really is.
He is a good coach. So is
So
Gundy though.
I'm gonna take Arkansas because they have
Okay.
Oklahoma State has Alan Bowman, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Arkansas to win that game.
Well, you've got daggers for Alan Bowman. All right. We go to 2:30 kicks now. We've got Baylor in at Utah, Salt Lake City.
Oh, that's gonna be a good game. I think Utah, I think is another one of those teams where that quarterback had like a bazillion passing yards on like 10 attempts. I think Baylor, I know they won their first game against a lesser opponent, but I think Utah is of a different breed. So I'll take Utah.
This is an interesting one because this is actually not going to be counted as a conference game because it was scheduled before Utah joined the Big 12.
That is
So
so weird. Whatever.
it is weird, but college football is weird right now, right? Okay. So then this is always a crazy game and a really hard game to predict. I mean, I haven't looked at the record, but I remember just following the scores over the years. But we've got Iowa State at Iowa.
That's an interesting matchup. Iowa,
Always.
Iowa can't score, but they have a great defense. I'd be curious to look and see how the last five or six of those has played out. I am gonna say that Iowa State will squeak out a win. I'd
Okay.
probably rather see them beat Iowa. I know Iowa's pretty tough defensively though, but they don't score
Okay.
much. That's a rivalry game where they hate each other, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be. I mean,
I'll,
it's got to
I'll be a
be.
Big 12 homer and say go Cyclones.
Okay. Then we've got Albany at West Virginia and Morgantown.
Oh, gee, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say West Virginia will take out some frustration on poor Albany after what Penn State did to them on Saturday.
All right, this next game is even hard for me to even say. Sam Houston at UCF.
Yeah, that's gonna be a demolition. I, I mean UCF. It's
Okay.
they're gonna win very comfortably.
We're both laughing, but that might end up being an upset. All right, this one's an interesting one, I think, because I think it's they still have the same coach at Illinois, but Kansas at Illinois.
Interesting. Yeah, they got that got Brett Bielema. He's uh
Yeah,
he's a big guy.
I think he's a good coach.
He is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still say though that I think Kansas will win that one.
Okay. All right, another interesting game that's getting a lot of press, and I think there's some correlation between this game and our game, because Colorado had a disappointing start, just like us. I mean, they came very close to losing that game as well. But Colorado at Nebraska, a lot of history there.
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to watch Nebraska beat Colorado to a pulp. I used to see it.
Me, and another friend of ours that we used to live for that game when we were early teenagers.
That was Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, right? It's like a Friday early morning kickoff, I think, after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I remember sometimes it was hard to get on TV in Dallas Fort Worth back then if you didn't have cable. And I remember I remember one time we actually went up to the local gym. They had the game on TV and they had a little lounge area, and our parents were members, and we were able. They let us just sit there and watch the game. I think we bought a soft drink or something. But yeah, who are you picking?
I watched a little bit of Nebraska. I watched Nebraska and Colorado, and Nebraska looks like a different animal this year. They looked very good in what I saw on Saturday. I can't remember who they played all of a sudden, but I think they're going to beat Colorado, and I don't even think it's going to be that close either. Colorado struggled on their defense was terrible, and they look like they have about three players, and that's about it.
Okay. Okay, then we've got I believe it's Long Island University at TCU in Fort Worth.
Or Long Island making the Big 12 rounds, huh? Didn't they play last weekend against a
Yeah,
decent
they got
team?
they got whipped by somebody who I forget who it was.
TCU will win this one. That's not, you know.
Okay. I missed one actually, and it's another one that's gonna be a tough one for the Big 12, I think. But I'm gonna let you pick it first. Houston at Oklahoma in Norman.
Oh man, yeah, it's I Oklahoma's gonna put this one away quickly. I watched them a little bit in their game, and their defense looked pretty good.
Okay.
Offensively, they're gonna struggle, but Oklahoma's gonna run away with this one.
All right. Then we've got our game, Texas Tech at Washington State and Pullman.
Much as it pains me to do this, I'm gonna pick. Washington State's gonna win that one in Pullman.
Okay. Northern Arizona at Arizona.
Say that again.
Northern Arizona at Arizona.
Oh yeah, Arizona's gonna run away with that one.
Okay, this is an interesting one, I think. Mississippi State at Arizona State and Tempe.
Interesting. And I can honestly not. I don't know that I can even name any people on either team. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna switch it up and be. I'm gonna say Mississippi State. I think is gonna win that one. Unfortunately,
All
I was
right,
about
you
to
and
go,
I.
I was about to go Big 12 homer and just pick Arizona State but I think Mississippi State will win that one.
All right, so you and I are definitely going to get some separation one way or the other because we have a lot of different picks this week. Okay, so BYU at SMU in Dallas. I'm taking SMU. Kansas State at Tulane. I like both. I like Tulane a lot because I have family that went there. I respect Kansas State a lot. I think Kansas State will win. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win that game. I would love to see Cincinnati win it, but I think Pittsburgh will win it. Arkansas, Oklahoma State. I'm actually going to take the Cowboys. I just think at home with Gundy, I think it'll be a great game. And I definitely share your respect for Arkansas's offense with Bobby Petrino. I think he's a really bright football mind, but I also think Gundy will have them ready to play. But this is also a game that, Oklahoma State sometimes loses games like this before conference play starts. Sometimes they struggle a little bit and then they get stronger once they get into conference play. So it wouldn't stun me, but I'm going to take the Cowboys here. I like Utah to beat Baylor. I'm going to go against you and pick Iowa over Iowa State. A lot of people are picking Iowa to actually make the playoffs this year. I'm going to go with Iowa. Of course, I'd love to see the Big 12 team win, but I think Iowa's going to win. It's also a home game for them. I don't know how much that matters in a rivalry game like that, but I'm going to take Iowa. Definitely West Virginia over Albany. Um, I think UCF will destroy Sam Houston. I think that'll be a blowout. I think UCF's a really good team. I don't think Sam Houston is a really good team at all. But we're both laughing. But the beauty of college football, that could end up being a shocker. You never know. I'm taking Kansas over Illinois, but that's an interesting game. I'll definitely be watching that one. Um, this the two hardest ones for me to pick are our game and the Colorado game because I think both teams way underperformed what they're capable of. But I'm also going to pick Nebraska over Colorado. Uh, I think Oklahoma will beat Houston. I think TCU will beat Long Island University. Um, I think our game may be the very hardest to predict because what if Taj Brooks ends up playing? What if our offense puts up another 50 points and we've got a good defensive coordinator and he makes some adjustments and our defense plays really hard. But I'm going to still take Washington State. Arizona will beat Northern Arizona. I'm also going to go against you and pick Arizona State over Mississippi State. Sun Devil Stadium. I went to the Patrick Mahomes game there. That's a great atmosphere. I think it's I actually think I've been to games at LSU and night games at Lubbock, and I've been to some pretty like you've been to some good college football atmospheres. I think Sun Devil Stadium, that's going to be a late game. I think Sun Devil Stadium will be they played well last week. I think they will beat Mississippi State. So we've got a little separation this week, some different picks.
Definitely some Big 12 versus SEC going on, huh?
Yeah, we do, and some Big Ten, Big 12 also. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right, so we'll keep track of this. So far, I'm 16-0. You're 15-1. There'll definitely be some changes next week because we picked some games differently this week. So this is just kind of a fun new thing we're doing this year, and we'll keep track of it. I'll put the records and the notes and everything as we go through the season. And we'd love for you guys to put your picks in the comments. And please, if you could help us support the channel, like and subscribe, especially. We have a lot of people, like a lot of YouTube channels, who are watching our videos that are not subscribing. And it'll definitely help us improve the channel over time if you subscribe and like and comment. Anything else you want to say this week?
No, just be glad you're not a Florida State fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The biggest thing I want to stress too is I know that there's a tendency as Red Raider fans to get depressed when we have a down game, but just remember Joey McGuire in his first two seasons, we started slow and finished strong. I even think if we go up to Washington State and lose, as long as we play well, I think that we could pick off a game later in the year to make up for it. And I still think we could end up with a pretty decent record, maybe even an improvement on the last couple seasons. I think that's very possible. So don't give up on Tech. Yeah, that could be very well be a fluke type game. I remember in the Leach years, I forget which year it was. We went to Reno and played. I think we went to overtime or played a very close game against Nevada, and then had a pretty good season. I remember that one pretty well because actually, I believe I went up to and watched the game with my father at his house, and I'm pretty sure he told me to go listen to the game in the radio because he didn't want to hear me cuss anymore. I was I was so upset. I think that was one
Totally
of those
picture
games.
this. Can totally
Yeah.
picture this. I
Yeah.
remember those Nevada teams playing Tech, and if I'm not mistaken, wasn't a certain gentleman named Colin Kaepernick the quarterback there?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he was obviously a great college talent, you know, politics aside or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but Tech was way better than we were a good team. Those were during the good some of the good Leach years, and we really struggled with them. So I've seen a lot of negativity. And believe me, I mean, I've gone through it too. I went through it a lot last year, especially at the beginning when we lost to West Virginia and when we lost to Wyoming. But I don't believe the sky is falling. We've got, I think our two best assistant coaches are our defensive coordinator and the special teams, Kenny Perry, and the defensive coordinator, drawing a blank. He's a good coach though, so I don't think he's gonna blow the season. I think what is his name? Texas Tech defensive coordinator.
It's,
Why am I drawing a
his
blank?
name is Tim. I'm doing this more.
I
I'm
think
doing
he's a
that
good
more
coach.
as I'm getting older. I'm doing the same thing where I'm remembering faces, and I'm like, "That's Tim." Yeah, I'm doing it too. It
Yeah,
happens.
I think those are our two best assistants. I mean, Kitley called a great game, but you know we
Yeah,
don't know because of the level of competition. The Kenny Perry, he's the one who called the 2 point conversion. We wouldn't have won the game without that, you know. Yeah, I think DeRuiter will make some adjustments. I don't think we're going to win Saturday, but I still think we're going to have a pretty good season.
sounds good to me, man. Good
All
seeing.
right, anything else you want to talk about?
Hopefully, I overtake you this week in prediction.
All right, we'll see. We'll see everybody next week. Guns up, and let's have fun watching the game, and hopefully Tech pulls an upset. Tech's about a 3.5 point underdog. I just looked at the line earlier.
I think it was 2.5 earlier, I believe. So
Okay,
it's moved a little bit. They might be baking in the Taj
Hodge
Brooks.
Brooks.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
that's a big. If he comes out full speed, it'll be a different game. You know.
Agreed.
All right,
Good seeing you, man.
all right. Good seeing you.
Guns up.